Good evening, traders. Locks here with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to show you the newest iteration of the GKD system. And this is the multi-ticker solo confirmation complex backtest. Now, you've seen a complex backtest before, a solo confirmation complex backtest. And that backtest requires one confirmation indicator, one volatility indicator, and one baseline. It's the most simple semi full GKD system you can do. It's not really a full GKD system, but it's a simple enough system that you can wrap your head around, and it's also a sufficient system that you can trade. Okay, I know a lot of people that trade a three indicator system just like this, but they use Wada Atar instead of Hurst Exponent. And today we're going to use Hurst Exponent. So let's get started on how you set this up. These indicators have not been updated or released yet, but they will be shortly. You pull open your indicators, you type in Fisher transform, and we're doing the GKD Fisher, Hurst, GKD-V Hurst, and then we do the BT for the backtest, and it's going to be multi-ticker SCC, confirmation complex. Okay, solo confirmation complex backtest baseline right there. And let's wait for the baseline to load. And then we'll go through what these indicators look like inside now. Now, this is an error, and it should be an error. You entered 0 tickers. It's because we didn't enter any tickers. But let's go through these indicators and how to set these up. So first off, Fisher transform. All right, we want to change this from confirmation to multi-ticker and paste in tickers. All right, there you go. Wait for it to load. There we go. And you'll notice that there is no more table here. The table is useless. Instead of the table, I now just have this, so it's plotting characters on the screen of every single bar, all of the tickers, different Fisher transform outputs. So it's very simple, and you can export that data as well. And that goes with every single indicator that's part of the GKD system. Not all indicators have been updated. In fact, the only one that's been updated is the Fisher transform, but it's not been updated to this version. But all GKDC indicators will be upgraded over the next month. All right, so you'll have access to those. So we went back into, let's go back into the Fisher transform. So again, we put multi-ticker, we pasted in those values, got out of that. We go into the Hurst exponent. We go from regular to multi-ticker. We paste in the same values. And it's going to be tedious pasting in the same values, but you have to. There's no way around it. You go into the baseline, and this is a new field in the baseline you guys haven't seen. I've got to change the name on this from confirmation type to baseline type, but you get the point. You hit multi-ticker there. So now we've entered the tickers in 1, 2, 3 times, and then we're going to go into the back test. We're going to enter it a fourth time. And I'll show you the benefit of having to enter them in 4 times, but also it does sort of suck to enter them in 4 times. But let's go ahead and look through the imports here. You're going to be importing the baseline here, and the one you import is input into new GKD-BT Multi-Ticker Backtest. You don't import new GKD-BT Backtest because that's not multi-ticker, okay? Now, on this one, GKD Volume and Volatility Indicator, very easy. You go down to the very bottom here, and it's import into new GKD-BT Multi-Ticker Backtest. And then the confirmation indicator, right here, it's Fisher transform input into new GKD-BT Multi-Ticker Backtest. And that's the GKD-C, the confirmation indicator. There's our backtest loaded. That was very fast. And then we're going to turn off these values. And I'm going to update one of these values so it matches what we've seen before. And this is from 2018 onward. And there's the values. Okay, so let's go through some of these and take a look at what's going on a little bit deeper. So in baseline, these values in baseline that normally activate things outside of baseline, they do nothing for the multi-ticker, okay? You can turn them off or on, and it's not going to change these values at all right? The only thing it's going to do is update the UI, and you guys already know what that UI means. But we'll turn those back on because it's not going to do anything for us. But when we go into the back test now, those values do something for us right here. All right, if we activate the Goldilocks zones, watch how the trade numbers drop right here. We had 572. Now we have 330. And activating these will give you a lot of 100%, but they will be rare in the sense of it'll be maybe about 50% of tickers instead of somewhere between 65 to 75% of tickers, right? So we get, a couple 100%, but then we get more hit rate here across the board. All right. So with cryptocurrency, I tend to keep these turned off. You can keep those on if you want, but with Forex, you probably want to keep those on, for example. All right. So there we have it. That's how you set the whole thing up. A couple things in here too. Same thing you've seen before. If you want to change this from contracts to equity, you can. If you do that, you're doing 3% of equity or something like that, 10% of equity, $1,000,000, $5 per order, and you'll get the results right there. It's not going to change the hit rate right here. Eventually, it will change this if your order size is very small because the commission will absorb any gains you got if you're trading small values or you're trading something weird, right? But there you have that. If you want to do that, let's change it back to contracts 3 and then 0 commission because I just care about the hit rate right here. All right. A couple other things to look at are this. So you have the baseline, you have Fisher transform, and you have Hurst exponent. All of these are based off of the tickers that we pasted into the fields, right? These are the same tickers. So this first value right here, as you can see, is 1 inch. Now let's say you want to do something funky and you say, you know what, instead, I want to do a baseline of Bitcoin, right? You say, you know what, let's see if we can benchmark a macro trend of Bitcoin. So just post Bitcoin in there and watch it update. There we go. It's still updating here. Well, it was the UI lag. So what we have right now, these values right here are based on a baseline of Bitcoin. Now, you might think, why do we have to paste it in just once when we had to paste it in 10 times? It's just how it's set up. You can paste it in here 10 times so you know what you're doing, right? But you don't have to, all right? What if you want to switch out Hurst to just that? There you go. And so what it looks like is using Hurst from just Bitcoin produces massive results, right? Look at the 100% knocked out right there, right? Not a good amount of trades, but still, for the longs, that's pretty great. We don't want to do that with Fisher Transform because that's our core one, right? But let's go back and change this up. All right. So generally speaking, when you set these systems up, you want the Fisher Transform because it's a core indicator. It's the one giving the signal. You want the Fisher Transform values here, right here, the tickers to match the tickers that you input here. Okay. That's what you want to do. So you can get funky with it, like I just showed you, and say, you know what? Let's benchmark stuff against a macro trend from Bitcoin and a volatility print from Hurst exponent, right? From Bitcoin volatility. So when you do that, you may get better results. As we saw here with some of these, we got better results. With shorts, not so much. But if we were to go through all of the tickers here with cryptocurrency, we would hit around 70% of long coverage without a settings change, all right? So if you go in here and you start messing around with this stuff, and you can, but I wouldn't suggest you do it, then it's going to mess up the internal systems. So it's not set up for that right now. You might be able to get around that by posting in Bitcoin 10 times in a row here, but I would not suggest you do that whatsoever, okay? The confirmation indicator itself, don't mess with that, but you can mess with these other indicators around it, all right? One of the reasons for that is because the ticker data is pulled again inside of the multi-ticker backtest, and that ticker data is then injected back into the system to calculate the take profits and stop losses and things like that. So it just doesn't make sense to switch it here. So keep the confirmation indicator, the Fisher transform in this case, the GKDC, keep those tickers matching the tickers in the multi-ticker SCC backtest. But again, these other ones, you can swap these out to, maybe you swap them out to something different per each value here, or you just keep them the same, or you can enter in just one, like we did Binance and then Bitcoin, right? Very simple. Same thing with this. All right, now that you have that, let's go through some of the settings changes here so you can see it flow through. Um, so you understand that it's actually working. So we go and we'll do like something like 32 on Fisher transform. What does that do for us? Okay, there we go. And you notice how fast it is compared to the other back tests from the strategy and uh, the strategies in Pine. That this indicator works fast and it's running 10 back tests instead of one. We'll go back here to Fisher and put it back on the default of 7. But there you go, a little flavor of that. If we go through and we say, you know what, could we improve shorts? I don't know if we can. But if we had a faster volatility, I don't know. Yeah, we can. See? And so you can see how this stuff flows through with everything. What if we go through the baseline and hit and push it down to 35? Does that do anything for us? Not really. So you'll have to toy around with these settings and see, what works best for you. Anyways, that's it for the GKD-BT Multi-Ticker Solo Confirmation Complex Backtest. The way this would work in the future, once I update all the indicators, is you would pick any of the GKDC indicators. GKDC. See these? There's about 200 of them. And any one of these can fit inside of the system in the future. And then you would pick, a volatility indicator, GKDV. Any of these volatility indicators, right? You inject those into the system right there. And then the baseline, there's the baseline regular and then there's baseline stepped. The step one won't be updated until way later. So it'll just be the baseline for now. Is there anything else I want to show you guys here? No, I think that's it. The only other thing that I should mention again is when you're running these, you want to use tickers that are in the same category of ticker. This is cryptocurrency. You want to use the same category, and I'll show you why. You see how it says 40% and 57% right there? If we go to Ethereum, you're not going to see a change. It'll say 47 and 57% right there. But if we go to Euro, it's going to show something totally different. 33 and 50, and that's wrong. Reason it's wrong is because we're skipping candles with Euro. Euro doesn't trade 24/7. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency does. All right. So if you're using tickers right here that are Forex, then use Euro for the backdrop or something with all of the bar history back, 30 years or something like that. So you grab all the information you need. If you're using cryptocurrency, stay on Bitcoin. Okay. With stocks, you're going to have to sort that out. Like Google or something like that, or Apple, you'll have to find a ticker that's been around for decades in order to cover all of the tickers right here so that these calculate the correct way. But with stocks, you would do the same thing. You find a stock or match stocks that are open at the same time, and then do the backdrop ticker right here to match that so that this calculates correctly. So, anyways, folks, that's it for tonight. If you have any questions, message me. But this will be up later this evening. Happy trading, and I will chat with you again soon. Bye.